All right, earnest money is typically the most boring topic around. You can come in if you need to. It is a hot potato, right? So we don't want to touch earnest money, if at all possible. So one of the reasons I'm talking about earnest money today is because we have had a lot of people actually bringing physical checks in, which is not needed, right? We all know this. We have mobile deposit that you can get set up. The big thing that I found is everybody lets their password expire and they never go in and change it. So if you need to get reset back up, just let me know. I'll get your username and all that stuff reset back up so that you can do mobile deposit. Just don't let your password expire.
How fast does it expire?
Every 90 days. So you're probably expired. But no big deal. That's if you have somebody who they refuse to do online bill pay. So as you all know, we have em.c21connectrealty.com. You go to that link, you type that in your web address, no www, just em.c21connectrealty.com, and it will take you to the online deposit, where they basically go in and do an online bill pay to make their payment. All right, what I want to make note of with that is that type of deposit, our online bill pay, is ACH. So you should check the ACH box. All right, it's not a wire transfer. It is an ACH. One of the big things with that, if you have a fast closing, do not do ACH with us holding earnest money. So here's what happens. So the ACH, give me just 1 second, can be reversed within 5 business days. All right, and it can take the bank up to 3 days to process that reversal. So therefore, no earnest money is coming out of our account for at least 9 business days from the time it's deposited. All right, so if you have a closing that's happening in 2 weeks, a cash closing 2 weeks, yeah, we're not gonna wanna ACH it. You're gonna wanna get a check, you're gonna wanna do that. They can still put a stop payment on a check, but that's a whole different beast in trying to get through that, and that'd be on them, okay? So if you have a fast closing, do not use ACH. Worrell, you had a question? I answered it? Okay. Yeah, 9 business days is what it is. So again, if you have a 21-day closing and your buyer is late getting earnest money in, we may or may not be able to do a pay at close for you. I've had an agent that waited around a week after closing to get paid because it was a cash closing, and literally 10 days they were late getting their earnest money, and we got the earnest money 2 days before the closing. So I can't transfer the earnest money to the attorney. The attorney's not going to do a pay at close. Go ahead, Miss Melanie.
I was doing an ACH, but I checked it off as a check because I thought I was going to pick it up. So what do I need to do?
All right, that's another great topic. So what happens if you check one box, cash, never, right? We all know that. Right. Nobody ever accept cash earnest money from anybody at any time. There's no accounting for that. There is no proper way to, so we never ever accept cash. I don't even know why they have it in there. So you check ACH, but the people go, I don't know how to do bill pay and I want to do a check, right? For us, our brokerage, we're not going to call that out as a compliance issue as long as we get the earnest money. We don't accept wire transfers because our bank will charge us $25 per incoming wire transfer. So we'd have to pass that cost along to the customer, and we don't want to do that, right? So we only accept check or ACH here when Century 21 is holding, all right? If you check something and it's going to be something else, just never cash. We never accept cash, period. If you checked wire transfer and it came in ACH, we will still accept it and process it for our brokerage. Other brokerages may come back and say, no, we need an amendment. If they do that, you're going to have to do an amendment. But we won't require that here as long as we get the money. So you have 3 different options here. As of the offer date, within blank dates from binding agreement date, and then a blank field for whatever you want. Most people do 2 to 3 days after binding agreement. It's kind of pretty typical standard of what goes on. If you have a short due diligence period and You don't want to turn in ACH or check because it has to clear our account before we can release the funds. If you terminate, if you're going to be terminating or you think you may be terminating, you may want to make the date after your due diligence period that the earnest money is due. Okay? And the reason I say that is because if they terminate and we have the money in our account, again, they can reverse it. So they could actually physically, that'd be the fastest way for them to get their money back. But if they don't go into the bank, do the reverse, do all that stuff, it's going to be, again, 9 business days before I release a check to them. So some people get really funny about their money. They want it now. So don't do that. Make sense? So make it due 5 days after binding agreement if you have a 3-day due diligence. Or you can write in there, do within 2 business days after due diligence period expires. If you have a 5-day due diligence, you can kind of make it up as you go. If you terminate a contract and your client customer says, just hold the earnest money for our next transaction, on your new transaction, you will check A, the amount, and as of the offer date, because we already have the money in our account. We're already holding it. Does that make sense? Any questions on that, Melanie?
How long do you hold it?
I have earnest money that I've been holding for about 2 months right now on a person that's looking in the 1 to 1.2 million range, and it's $20,000. And it's just sitting in our escrow account. Okay. They're like, yeah, I'll just leave it. Okay, we can do that. We'll hold it indefinitely. We don't do rental stuff around here, but if you own your own rental properties and you're holding a deposit like Miss Iris here, that's been in there for what, 6 months now, something close to. All right, so again, if it terminates and you're writing a new offer, check A because we already have the funds, right? Make sense? With this, any other questions on that part of this? No? Mr. Worrell?
Well, I don't see that. Well, in regards to like that earnest money, right? I mean, you said there's cases where the earnest money was turned in like 2 days before closing. So is there not any penalty, like you put within 3 days and then somebody come back and like, I don't have it in 3 days?
It was a quick closing, once again. They had 3 business days to deposit it. The closing was literally within 10 days, 3 business days. You had a weekend in there. And next thing you know, they're late. It goes through a whole process if it's late. So us as the holders, we have to, here you go, and I will show you here, as the holder of earnest money. Section 6 down here explains holder method of payment. Holder has the right to charge the buyer for any associated costs with receiving money, which we don't want to do. That's all the interest bearing. Sorry, I think it's actually section 7 here. It's one of them. I don't remember exactly where it is. Here you go. It is section 6. Down here at the bottom, in the event the earnest money check is dishonored by the bank upon which it's drawn, or if it's late. If we don't have earnest money as the holder, we go through a process here where we have to notify all parties. The buyer has 3 banking days to remedy it. If the buyer doesn't remedy it, then the seller has 7 days thereafter to terminate the contract unilaterally if they want to. So it gives them the right to terminate the contract. All right? Then if they don't, they waive their right and we move forward with no earnest money. All right, so as you all know here in Georgia, I don't know, you're from Michigan. Yeah. Do you have to have earnest money in Michigan? Mm-hmm. You do not here. It does not make our contracts binding. So there's a point for y'all. As y'all all should know, earnest money does not make a contract here binding. There's language written in here. There's a transfer of $10 from each party to the other that makes it a binding contract. That's the consideration. All right. Other questions on that? All right, let's jump down here to disputes, actually. So when terminating a contract, we all know it's unilateral termination. You can do unilateral or mutual termination of a contract. If you unilaterally do it, you have to have a legal reason to. That's a whole different class. We can talk about that. But at the bottom of that form, you must have 2 signatures to release the earnest money, right? So when we're holding earnest money, if you have the buyer, they terminated within their due diligence period, they're entitled to the earnest money. It's clear simple and clear, and you say, we're putting this next property under contract, you can't use that earnest money that's already on deposit until the seller signs it. Okay, so if we don't have mutual agreement to release the earnest money, you can't apply that earnest money to another contract. So in that situation, the buyer may have to make a second earnest money deposit to be in compliance with their new contract. And worst case scenario, I've seen it happen plenty of times. I've had to do it plenty of times. Seller gets mad because the buyer terminated for some stupid inspection reason or whatever. And they're like, I'm not signing that. And you go, well, you have to. Well, no, you can't force them to sign it. My old, sign this right now. You know what I mean? Like, we're not doing that. So you can't coerce somebody into signing anything. So at that point, we go through the whole 10-day demand letter. Is everybody familiar with that? No? I didn't think so. So this is what happens when there is a dispute over the earnest money. All right, it's called a 10-day letter. It used to be 15 days, but with technology, they've cut it down to 10 because everybody has emails these days, right? So what happens is it's the disbursement. Upon the closing of the property, a subsequent written agreement by the buyer and seller, that'd be your mutual agreement after the termination, court order, or holder may disperse earnest money, a reasonable interpretation of the agreement, provided I give the party at least 10 days notice to make a decision. So this is where it comes into reading and interpreting the contract. As a holder of earnest money, I will make a lot of you unhappy when I have to give the other party earnest money. But as a broker, I have to make a decision, make the proper decision, and make it timely, okay? If I don't do any of those three things, I can be deemed incompetent by the Georgia Real Estate Commission and lose my license. Not gonna happen. So I'm not here to make friends when we're holding earnest money, right? I love all of you, but no, not messing with my livelihood, okay? So that 10-day letter goes out. After the 10 days, I usually give it 11 or 12 in case somebody snail mailed it back to us. I wanna see the postmark date on anything and go before I make a final decision. In that dispute process, I'll interpret the contract to say, buyer's entitled to earnest money. The seller, the other side of the contract, then has that 10 days to make an argument. And at that point, if they give valid reasons, as the holder, I have options. I can interplead it into the courts. I can reverse my decision, or I can stick with my decision. As the holder, I can't be sued. But again, I have to make an appropriate decision based on the contract. I can't just go, I think I like our buyer. We're going to go ahead and make it happen for our buyer and give them the money back, even though they just failed to close on the contract for any reason. You know, so it doesn't really work like that. So after the 10 days is up, I'll do a final letter. Just so you all know, just as kind of add-on information that you may not care about or whatever. Whenever the seller is receiving earnest money, so if you have a seller who's getting earnest money, they're going to need to complete a W-9 form. It is considered taxable income to sellers receiving the buyer's money. So just be prepared for that. If you have a seller that wins the earnest money, you're going to need to complete a W-9. Yes, ma'am?
Does that apply when they receive option money?
Option money? No. Option money is completely different. It has nothing to do with trust funds. It's the buyer saying, here's $5,000, here's $1,000 for the option to buy your house. Make sense? The earnest money is them not necessarily agreeing to give the money up. In most instances, it's given by 10-day. The buyer just doesn't walk away from their money. Anything else on earnest money? Questions? Again, we have our online ACH portal. If you're closing in a month or whatever, use it. Check ACH, have them do it. It's a real simple website. I can pull it up here real quick. The site link was made easy as the em.c21connectrealty.com. But as you see, when you click to it, it'll actually take you to our bank, Cadence Bank, Biller IQ. If I tried to give that to everybody, they would lose their marbles, right? So em.c21connectrealty.com. Enter the address, enter it a second time, and I'll jump in here real quick. There's no passwords required, nothing of that. right? So click quick payment, and it goes in, and this is the information they have to fill out, right? When they click payment method, that's adding your credit card information, your banking information, however you're making the payment. They should be using a debit card, not a credit card. As a matter of fact, the system won't even accept a credit card payment. So it's actually pretty intelligent. You can also add your bank account information in there to pay it. Whew. That was a whole lot of earnest money talk in 20 minutes, wasn't it? I feel drained. Everybody good? Any questions? Anything else? So use this site. If you don't know it, it's in Brokerment. It's stuck in there the link is in there, so you can copy and paste the link from there. As well, when you turn in your contracts, if you turn them in right away, when help processes your contract, there's the opening message to the buyer goes out and says, here's the link, or you can give the check to your agent and they can deposit it right there. So make sure if you're doing that you have the app. Don't call me today and say, I need the app right now, because I have to go through our bank to get it reactivated, to get your account reactivated. Make sense? Yes. All right, let's go.